and my connection is just really bad. Sorry.
Welcome to the very first of 2 days of interviews with inspiring leaders. This is Marc Pitman. I am the author of the brand new book, The Surprising Gift of Doubt, which is right there. And instead of just endlessly refreshing sales stats on today and tomorrow as the book launches, my wife suggested, why don't you speak to people that inspire you, leaders that you admire and have aspects and attributes that you think others would do well to hear about. So I got to do that. And one day wasn't enough, so we did 2 days. And right now, the first of all the 2 days is an interview with Beau Howard. Beau was the founder of Mail South. He's done consulting in other formats. But what I know him from for over a decade now is the founder of the Alabama Spay Neuter Clinic. He is, Beau, sorry if this embarrasses you, but in my estimation, I've been working with leaders for 25 years as an executive coach for over 18. He is one of the most well-grounded and inspiring leaders I know. He has an ability to develop teams around him that stick with him, and his support of his teams are unparalleled. So I am thrilled that people get to hear about you. And Beau, thank you for saying yes to this conversation.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, what did you, I guess one of the things, there's so many questions I have for you, but I know we have limited time. So one of the questions is just, what caused you to be a creator of organizations? Was founding organizations something that you just thought you were going to do? Did you play founder as a kid growing up?
No, actually, my dad played founder, and I was following along. But
Nice.
The whole idea was that I was brought up in entrepreneurship. My father ran businesses, and that was my history as a child, watching him do that. And I also found out a little later in life that I did much better working for myself than I did for other people, like a lot of entrepreneurs did.
That is awesome. What was your first entrepreneurial venture then? Was it taking over from Mail South?
No, I had several things going on when I was growing up. I used to, there was a swimming pool in the small town that I came from. I used to have a little thing where I sold stuff there. All along my journey, I was looking for ways to make money. And a lot of times it got me in some trouble, but a lot of times it taught me the things that I needed to know.
Well, there's a difference between making money as an entrepreneur that way and then founding a nonprofit and giving money and investing money in a different way. What inspired you to start the Alabama Spay and Neuter Clinic? What gap did it fix?
Yeah, I don't know how your listeners might receive this, but it was more like a calling. I've always been involved in animal welfare. When we had our place at Mail South, there were animals in the building. A funny story about that, one of my IT guys came to me. We had about 10 cats in the building, and my IT guy comes to me and he says, look, I've got this candidate. It's a first-rate candidate to go to work for us, but they're allergic to cats. And I said, that's a difficult problem, but the cats were here before your person got here, and they'll be here long after he leaves. So you'll have to find another candidate. But I've always been very, very much involved in animal welfare, and it was sort of this God kind of bargain. If you'll help me get to, where I think I need to be, I'll pay you back in kind. And it's that still small voice that you have that sort of drags you to something, whether you want to go or not. And that's how I got involved with the clinic. I got a little carried away with it, but once we found the statistics of what we needed to do, there wasn't any kind of turning back. The statistics that animal welfare people produce nationwide, showed that we had to do 20 to 25,000 news a year to impact the problem. So that led us to where it was just larger in that direction.
Well, we are definitely having some issues with your internet, but the what he said was 20 to 25,000 spays and neuters a year to make an impact in Birmingham. Sounds like you were trying to come back in.
Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm back.
So,
What? Now I'm out again.
yeah, the video is, we just won't watch the video. We'll just listen to
It says
listen
I'm
to
on
each
the
other.
air and in the broadcast, but I can't see anything.
Okay, you are, and I can hear you. So what, I love the nudge. I love the inner voice, and that one that you can't ignore, or you
I'm
can't
out.
hide from. Question for you. What, what was the
No.
process of starting you said it was a calling where you always had animals around you. When did you start shifting from just being open to animals and caring for animals to seeing the need of euthanasias in the Birmingham area? Like, what were some of the signposts along that way?
Hello. Goodbye.
Can you not
What?
hear me? But are
Should I
you?
try again?
I don't know. I'm here.
Yeah.
You're not hearing me?
I don't know. What should I do? It says you're in the broadcast. Am I in the broadcast?
Yes. This is
Try to
hilarious.
call again. Try to do that one more time.
Okay. That sounds good.
There we go.
Well, that's good. Good for, at least we know we can just kind of kick the machine and it'll come back. So my question for you was, we lost you around 20 to 25,000 surgeries. What, were there some signposts along the way from knowing that you liked animals and that you were open to them to seeing the real need and the problem with euthanasias in Birmingham?
No, ever since I was a child, it was this way all along. I've been involved with shelters. The euthanasia part of it, was always a sticking point for me, having to put animals down so there's room for other animals to come in that you might have to put down. And explored many ways to try to do animal welfare after my retirement. And this is the one that was absolutely the most productive. You get a geometrical result when you spay and neuter animals, obviously, from one or two at a time, like shelters, to tens of thousands at a time when you're doing 25,000 animals a year. So there was really not much question about it.
Well, and I love that the shelters in your area are also thankful for your being there, because they're seeing a dramatic decrease in the number of euthanasias that are needed as
Yep.
the clinic's surgeries ramp up. Was it 17,000 or so pre-COVID a year?
Pre-COVID was 15, and we expected to do 17 this year. And of course, we're running a little behind. We were closed. We were closed for a few months, much like a lot of other people. And
Well,
we're catching back up.
what was it like to lead through that? Because you were one of the leaders that took care of your staff during the closure time, and you actually had a strategic plan that you accelerated. Stuff you were going to do at the end of the year, you ended up doing early. What was it like was it hard for you to make those decisions, or did it just seem like the right thing to do to take care of your staff as long as you could and keep them safe?
No, it was very simple to make those decisions. You had people, working for minimum wage or above minimum wage, because we are a nonprofit clinic. And there was no doubt that in order for them to take care of their families, they were going to need to continue to be paid. So it wasn't even a close call. The decision was made very quickly, and we paid them until we opened up again.
So what were some of the models for you in leadership? Because there's a type of leader that looks at people, and there's a type of leader that looks more at tasks. And it seems like you've got this wonderful blend of, the numbers you need, the mission that you need for the clinic, and you carry the people with you. Like Marc, the executive director of the clinic, has been with you for even before the clinic. So
That's correct.
are you naturally good at inspiring that kind of mutual relationship, or are there things that you've learned along the way to help that?
Actually, it started when I was very, very, very young. My father ran sewing factories in the deep South in the 60s. And so basically what you have is my father and 50 to 100 women on the floor. And the women were all teenagers up to like 25 or 30. We lived in very, very small towns. That's where the factories were. So you had like a 16 or 17-year-old young lady with two kids already, and she made her money by production. My father, much like myself, was into management by walking around. And what he would do was he would help these people produce more. He would help these people learn so they could produce more and make more money. And that was my model for most of my life. It was good for the company. It was good for the people. My father loved doing it. And it was just very inspiring to see what he did with people, all educational levels. He had this thing one time that stuck with me, where one of his people came and asked him to borrow money. And he said he had a deal with the banker, that the banker wouldn't make him close, he wouldn't lend money. So I thought there's a way to do things that keeps people together, that makes them move all in the same direction. I got most of that from my father.
Wow, what a wonderful, not just a lesson, what a wonderful series of lessons. What's it like to be, and we don't have to go into the details if you don't like, but what is it like to be a leader that is misunderstood or has opposition? Because I know you've gone through periods of opposition where people were not as appreciative of work that you may have been doing as others. So what was it like to try to keep your head above water through that?
I'm surprisingly calm through situations like that. I'm just grounded in where I'm going. And I try to be empathetic and understanding to the people that are coming at me in a negative way, and try to understand their point of view. But that doesn't negate the fact that you have to keep walking forward. So the way that you handle it is you keep doing your job. Uh, you uh, if you need lawyers, if you need a doctor, whatever you need to help your situation move along. In our case, a lot of lawyers, because we were tussling with the veterinary board of Alabama, who didn't want us to be open. Then you have to keep doing your job. And that basically, you just, keep moving forward one step at a time, one day at a time.
And one of the neat things I think from you is that you did a lot. You got really involved in that as chair of the board, and kind of, I think, provided some cover for your staff, even though the senior leaders still had to be in the thick of it. I love the way that you protected the people that were around you. That's really cool.
Sure, absolutely.
As you're thinking of, you've seeing emerging new leaders come into different organizations in your area and around the country. What are some things that you'd hope that they would know, or what would you think would have been helpful advice for you as you're starting out?
As I was starting up, I was very, very intense. Later in life, I learned that a sense of humor is invaluable in the workplace. And I would say, if I would give one tip to any on the rise executive, it's, if you're up there, if you've dialed it up to a 15 or a 20, take it down to like a 6 or a 7. Find humor in the workplace, find humor with the people that you're working with. It doesn't change the mission. It doesn't change there's a lot of heavy duty stuff going on in the workplace that needs to be performed. But a sense of humor is extremely helpful, especially nowadays, where we are so divisive nationally and we have COVID going on. You got to find some things to lighten yourself up about, and that will help your people as well.
Well, that is one thing you and your organization do so well. If you go to Facebook and you go to just search in Facebook, Alabama Spay Neuter Clinic, the Facebook page has some of the best humor about spaying and neutering dogs and cats that is just cracks me up. I remember, and there are some, I've told you this, there are some that when I taught social media marketing, the find your own voice and celebrate your own voice and find your village within by speaking true to yourself. The sense of humor that I would talk about on social media examples, some of them were from the Facebook page, because Danny just does an amazing job at catching people's funny bone, and it works. I mean, there's the number of shares and likes and comments and all that this little clinic in Birmingham gets is phenomenal. That's just off the charts. So I think that's, people get it. That's really good. What as you're thinking about, if you look back over the time that you've been a leader, are there certain books or leaders that you'd suggest people check out? And I'm not just trying to milk a recommendation for my book, but I'm serious. I think leaders are readers and learners.
I would like to say, as we go through this, you are one of the main ones, and the reason why is because a majority of my management experience is been watching people do things the wrong way. As I picked up my people skills from my father and then got into the workforce myself, not only a worker but an entrepreneur, you can see that there is a direct correlation between the way leaders treat people and production. It's just not a secret. It's not hard to dig out. And I was just amazed at how high executives treat their people and expect a high level of production. So unfortunately, most of what I've learned that's been productive for me is watching people do things the wrong way. You are not one of those people.
Thank you.
The one thing that has always attracted me to you is that you and I do the exact same thing with people. We try to lift people up. We realize that production is directly related to that. It's all about connecting. It's all about understanding. A lot of that was in your book, and I enjoyed that very much.
I realize, thank you. I'm honored. I realize I'm not trying to I'll take any compliments, but I was not trying to stir that pot. That's really good. One of the things that is exciting about these live streams is that people get to comment. And we're seeing that Marnie, just here at the Greenville Chamber, just noticed that her notification of her book is coming is soon. And there's another Louis Diaz who's saying how great it is to see us on this live stream. So thank you all for commenting. If you're watching this live on Amazon Live, be sure to consider pre-ordering the book. It should be right below you if you're not watching it anywhere else. If you are watching it somewhere else, you can get the book wherever fine books are sold. I'd also encourage you to consider making a donation to Alabama Spay Neuter Clinic. Beau didn't ask me to do this, but they are a client, and they're one of the organizations that I love continuing to work with. So it's alspay.org. /donate, and it's just $50 will pay for one surgery, and because of a generous sponsor, there's all surgeries are being doubled, so your $50 will help 2 animals get spayed or neutered, and exponentially impact the numbers in Birmingham.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, any final words or inspiration that you'd want to, or thoughts you'd want to give to people?
That's it. I want you to know how much I appreciate you, and this has been a good journey for me. You always tell me how much you appreciate helping me with my journey. This is an opportunity for me to say a few kind words about you. I appreciate you very much.
Well, I am so honored that we get to having walked through COVID together, helping keep fundraising going. And Beau, thank you for all that you're doing, not only with animals and impacting the animal culture, but also with human beings and helping them be human and take care of their families too. Thanks, Beau.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.